Hey guys, welcome to Table Talk. This is episode 4. My name is Chris.
I'm Hezekiah.
We're here with Hezekiah. We're going to have a great time. Let's get into it. All right, we're back. This is a new one for us. We are not talking about The Chosen. If you missed The Chosen, we have 3 videos already that have covered the previous seasons, the first 2 episodes. The last video we posted is episodes 3 and 4. Yep. Check those out. Have fun. Send questions, comments, all of that. Subscribe to the channel. But today, we're going to break some new ground. We're going to start talking about some tech. And then please stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications because we're going to have some more videos hitting you just back to back to back. It's New Year's. We're going to give you a lot to play with. So I'm going to kick it over to Hezekiah, and we're going to get this thing started on the tech edition.
Okay, first, these we'll be doing like favorite apps we use for our church. If you have anything like you want to use for your church, so we'll do our favorite apps and free apps, and then some cameras, like good cameras you can either use for your YouTube channel, your church, or like podcasts for video podcasts, or even streaming. So yeah, right now I want to get into like some phone rumors.
Yeah, let's hear some rumors. What's coming up?
iPhone rumors, I'm just going to say, go crazy.
Yes.
Especially on every other social media. So, first is the iPhone 15. Like your Mac, you know how it's rounded and then up at the top it's just flat.
Yeah.
So they started talking about...
So new design.
The iPhone 15 to be like that. So you know how like the, I think it's the 12 and then up, it's just squared like the first... Gosh, what was it? iPhone 5?
I think it was iPhone 4 or 5. Yeah.
So like that's squared. Then they start talking about doing that curved and then flat, like they did with the first iPhones.
Kind of like a tapered edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a curved edge. So like when it's in your hand like this, it'll feel better. But then when it's at the top of the screen's still flat. So when you drop it, it doesn't break like Androids do.
Very nice.
Still curved.
No, I'm excited about. I don't know about you, but I like the design. I think what he's saying is kind of what you've got here.
The rounded off, and then it just gets flat.
Yeah.
And then
yeah. So that'll be a pretty legit design. Yeah. Man, what about the thing that we all want to know? Do you think we're gonna see USB-C or some modern connection interface finally?
So I did see, and Apple did say on one show they were on. I think it's the UK. I think the UK is demanding Apple to do USB-C there because they're changing every tech company to do USB-C.
Come on, y'all. We don't need any more adapters or dongles or anything else. Yeah. Like, we have enough in our bags, right?
They put back the HDMI and SD card in the Macs, so like, why can't they put the USB-C in the iPhone?
Absolutely.
But, they said I think they're definitely doing USB-C in the UK because they're demanding it, and I heard some people say they might go just MagSafe for the US, which is kind of dumb.
That would be mind-blowing. I mean, I guess it goes, I mean, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, I guess it goes well in the way of making the device more waterproof and water-resistant, I guess. I don't know. There's different standards, so just so you're aware, there's water-resistant and there's waterproof. Yeah. Waterproof means like this thing is like Fort Knox, like you're not getting in.
Water, yeah.
Water resistant means that up to a certain depth or up to a certain exposure level, like it's going to do okay, but you still need to work on it. Like on the watches, they have a little thing that you spin the dial and it pushes the water out because it needs to not be in it, right? And so when you look for things, be very close and pay attention. Does it say it's waterproof or does it say it's water resistant?
Like
that is
shoes,
huge.
Some shoes will say waterproof because it's actually waterproof.
Correct. Yeah, it just repels the water.
And on Apple's website and stuff, the Ultra says like I think it's 100 meters, and then ours say 50. But that's the maximum. Like they say you could go 100, but don't go over 100.
It's not wise. You're basically taking a risk.
Risking it. It's just it can go deeper than 50, just maybe not 100 or past.
Yeah.
So it's like when you get to 100, like it'll actually show the meter on the
Show of hands. Who in here still takes their watch and phones out of their pockets when they go swim or when they get a shower? I mean, come on. It's too much money to, like, I know it says that it can handle it, but I still am like, nope, not going to do it. You know, taking it off.
Isn't the Ultra like $800?
Yeah. Like, it's like...
I think some dude... I think I saw
a house payment. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, I think I saw, like, a guy swim in his Ultra just to test it out to make sure it actually did. And it worked after, but that's kind of scary.
It is scary. Well, okay, so we've got revised design. We have the potential for a revised design as pertains to charging, whether it's going to be MagSafe or they're going to get their act together. Come on, y'all. Well, get your act together. Give us USB-C on both ends.
Yes.
Because he's showing a picture here that's got USB-C at the brick and then Thunderbolt at the tip that plugs into the phone. That's not what we want.
Yeah.
USB-C on both sides or nothing.
Well, and because right now they're doing this on purpose. But they're doing MagSafe. I forgot what like the actual like spec is, but MagSafe is either 20% slower than Lightning still. Because they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't want. Well, now they have these cables, but before you had to use an adapter to your phone and then to adapter to your computer to transfer videos.
Yeah.
And all the tech people are like, give us USB-C on both ends. So we just plug it in, and the transfer speeds of.
What is the standard on USB-C for the most part now? Is it Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4?
I think it's 4 now.
Okay.
Especially in UK.
Yeah, come on. Let's do this.
I saw one guy.
One thing we don't want you to do, Apple, is make a brand new cable that we have to buy another cable in order to plug our stuff in. Here's the deal. Our iPads have USB-C.
Yeah.
Let's catch up with the time. Let's throw USB-C on there. And hey, I'll even take it a step further. You want to know what I want to see? I want to see something like a Mac that I open it up, and instead of having to do my fingerprint, I want it to unlock with Face ID. Like, dude, the technology's been out forever. My iPad does it. Our phones do it.
Your Dell computer have it?
Yeah, my Dell computer is a Windows computer, so it uses Windows Hello, and it gives you the option to do it. So it's like the technology is here. Yeah. I know they upgraded the camera processor on these.
They have the camera and the...
And so it's like, tell me why we can't do it, y'all. Like, come on.
They already have a notch. Like, you can just hide it probably behind the notch.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, if you want to know what we want, that's my wish list. Give me Face ID and give me USB-C on all my stuff so that I can minimize my cables and just life will be better.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Let me see. So
what other rumors?
USB-C. Oh, I know.
Are they changing the camera sensor?
They were going to do an iPhone Ultra.
Holy moly. Y'all listen.
Like the color scheme of the Ultra, they were like, so they might replace the Pro Max with the Ultra instead. So I forgot what the specs like that people were guessing on. I don't think this is like the newest rumor because it's still the normal sides.
My favorite thing about these, and Hezekiah is going to throw them up on the video in production, but the favorite thing that you're going to see in the picture they'll show up is it reminds me of the joke where it's like, all right, we're creating this new design, and they grab their little pen and they just slide the circle over to the side. It's like, we've designed hey, good job, yeah,
this one
we just added a circle.
This one, all this one did is they just copy and pasted a few times.
Yeah.
Other than this one has a different sensor.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering.
I'm a fan of the Dynamic Island. I know I'm probably the minority.
And it's a cheesy name, but like it's cool.
It's like a massively stupid name. But it is cool. It looks better on the phone. This artist rendition of what the Ultra could look like is cool. But I also have to play a little bit of fun. Their naming convention needs a massive upgrade because
let me be the namer.
Are we going to have iPhone Super Saiyan? Like what's going on? Like
iPhone Pro Max to 10th power.
To the 10th power. Like we better be getting some cool stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Like they better make it worth the name.
Yeah. So this is the iPhone Ultra, I guess is what they're saying.
Now they're going Samsung route.
The design doesn't necessarily look like the tapered on this rendition. You're probably seeing it on the screen. It looks a little bit more squared. It looks closer to the iPhone 4 or 5 generations.
Yeah, and
which I wasn't mad about. I'm not mad about this design.
Yeah, I like this.
But if they do the tapered feel, I think it's going to be a lot better.
Because like holding like the iPhone 6 or so.
Yes, exactly.
And the iPhone X. iPhone X was like one of the perfect phones ever.
Well, and here's the other thing. We know that with this additional tech, the phone is going to get heavier. And so if it doesn't feel good in your hand... It better not only feel good in your hand, but if I'm dropping it every time I pick it up.
Yeah.
Hey, so here's another wish list. Apple, listen up. If there's any way they can give us a tactile feedback on the back of the phone, like if it's rugged or like a carbon fiber kind of, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where it's got like a little bit of ripples in it, like help us hold the phone. Like who wants to put a case on it? The only reason we put a case on it is because we spent so much money. We don't want it to be destroyed.
And only those guys like MPHD or like, what's that guy?
Shout out.
Mr. Who's Boss, like they don't have any cases on their phones.
Yeah, exactly.
They can pay for a new one.
But it's like sometimes you get shipped your phone. Like if you want to give me a new phone, I won't argue. But I mean,
that's true.
That's another thing I would say. Listen, y'all, when we talk about technology, I am most certainly not saying go out and buy the latest and greatest, because the latest and greatest is not always the latest and greatest. My laptop is like 2 years old at this point, or it might even be 2.5, but it's still like so good. Like buy the right amount of storage,
like
buy the right amount of memory.
It's not that much different than the brand new what is it, Studio?
Yeah,
Mac Studio.
Yeah, and so there's some that are faster, but it's like if you buy well for your needs, if you talk to somebody that knows what they're doing, buy well the first time, let it last a few years, and then here's the cool thing: when you buy an upgrade, it actually feels like an upgrade.
Like mine is the 2019 Intel chip, and it's still working.
It's a beast. It's an absolute beast. So the i9, they did such a good job in that system. Not only, I mean, that was like the first time they went back to the right keyboard. So the keyboard was so much better. His brother has the one that was, I think it was the scissor keyboard, I think is what they called it. Isn't that what it was?
I think so.
And so it was meant to be thinner, which was great in theory. Yeah. But I was typing on it the other day. I was like, how? how do we do this? I'm like, I'm typing perfectly, and it's missing every key on the planet. And I'm like, ugh.
Well, and like on mine's so much bigger than his. You're like, dang, my keyboard's tiny. And then you compare them, you're like, oh, wait, no, they're the same size.
They're the same size. But I mean, the other thing they did on his,
it glides better than the
15-inch that was in the history of it, had a terrible heating and cooling issue. And so it's like, they fixed the heating and cooling. They fixed the keyboard. Literally, the only thing that went wrong with that generation was the fact that, as we've been saying for years, they finally did it in this one, they didn't have a 1080 camera. So it was still 720. It's like, terrible.
And you to get adapters for like, everything.
Correct. You had to have, I mean, it has a lot of ports, but you literally had to have a new adapter, new power supply, because it's a beast.
Well, I also like, one of my power adapters now are going out because I use it so much.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the ones for my monitors, and it's just an HDMI. Like, I use it I think I've used it for a year probably now.
Yeah.
And like, I want one of those bigger, like, what are they called? Docks. Because I think those will last longer.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and it minimizes the life, and something I'll just say as just a general rule of thumb. If you buy a laptop, treat it like a laptop. A lot of people buy laptops and they leave them plugged in all the time, and then they wonder, like, my battery's terrible. Well, it's because you don't have a good amount of cycles on it. Yeah. Treat it like a laptop. Every now and then you need to use it, let the battery dissipate so that it completes a cycle and you have good battery health. Now, I've been impressed by Apple lately. They've been doing it from a software perspective where it gradually drains your battery, or, this is scary to some people, where you'll plug it in and it actually won't charge it, or it does a trickle charge so that it charges it correctly, so that it's helping you complete your battery cycles and give you longevity in your battery life. And so, like, that stuff to me is brilliant, but it doesn't change the fact that I still want to practice, like, hey, it's just like my phone. It's going to run down. It's going to, battery performance is going to degrade over time. But, like, just do it.
And what I do with mine is I'll unplug mine at night to let it drain. Like, before I go to bed, I'll just unplug it from the charger. And when I wake up, I'll either use it as a laptop on my couch or whatever. And whenever, like, it dies, I'll just be like, okay, and I just plug it in. And I use it on my monitor. And just do that every once in a while.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good practice. Another good practice to go along with what Hezekiah is saying, you can actually disable those battery settings if you want to do it manually. That's going to be better, honestly. The other thing I would do is I set mine to notify me at 20%. Yeah. So when my phone gets to 20%, it actually tells me, hey, low battery. And so that actually is better than letting it run completely to zero, regardless of what people have told you. Yeah. If you run it out completely like that, it's actually more harmful to the battery. So 20%, 15%, somewhere around there is a good place to say, all right, it's time to charge now. I've completed a cycle. Let me get it back to either 80% or 100%. That way, you know, it continues to have that flexibility in that life. The other thing I would say, in extreme cold or in extreme heat, do not have it maximum, a maximum 100% charge on there, because it's also stressful for the battery. And so,
and charging while you're using it.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you know you're going to leave it in a car for a while in those extreme temperatures, don't charge it before you do. Like, hey, I'm going to be at work all day today, so it's going to be with me.
People's batteries like explode.
Yeah. Exactly. And so if it's not 100%, it's going to have room to expand or compress, and it won't damage anything. And so just some helpful tips. Yeah. We didn't even know we were going to talk about that, but you're welcome. What else do we have for iPhone? Anything else on the Ultra?
One thing I was going to say is I think... So, like, yours has 3 cameras. So, like, the bottom, I think, is...
Yeah, so mine's the 12.
The 12 Pro.
I'm living my own advice,
Yeah, waiting till it actually is worth it.
What is KJ? What do you have?
I have the 13 mini.
So, we're recording this on a 13 mini and then a iPhone 12 Pro Max. Yeah. So, just to give you an idea...
They look pretty close.
Quality-wise, and he can throw the specs in the chat or in the description, but similar specs.
If you look at it, like the black around the camera is bigger because it's a bigger sensor. So my cameras are bigger just because of the sensor, not the actual camera itself. But like I have a main, and then main is called wide, and I also have an ultra wide. Yours has the wide, ultra wide, and telephoto. I wonder what this has.
Yeah.
Because it has 4.
You watch them. They're going to do like the space lens. They're going to call it like ultra space lens. Get out there in the galaxy. No, they're going to call it the galaxy lens. Calling it right now. Galaxy lens.
Well, I think if they did that, like, Samsung's like biggest feature that's actually different than Apple.
Maybe they'd get in trouble with Samsung if they call it Galaxy anything. I don't know.
Well, if they're doing ultra, then they can also get in trouble with Samsung.
There's always this controversy between the companies, like,
have you seen those ads that Samsung do? That's like, I think this Apple guy got up on like a fence and was like, Samsung, they have folding phones. And this girl was like, folding? She like drops her iPhone or something like that, and they all go over to Samsung.
Nice. Oh my goodness.
Their ads are so cheesy.
Hey, while we're on that, one of the goofiest designs, this is just my own personal opinion, but we talked about this at length between our two phones. The Pro Max has a matte back, and then it has glossy sides. Yeah. The 13 has a glossy back and a matte side. It's like, why can't we just pick? Like, I want matte on both. Like, I don't want to see any of the fingerprints.
At least like they say matte, and then glossy sides looks more premium, and it does look premium, but
it also gets scratched.
It gets scratched.
Fingerprints and all of that, and it's like
that doesn't look premium.
No, and when you get scratches all over the side of your phone, it's like, oh great, this sucks. Now I have to put a case on it, and exactly. So we've had a pet peeve about that, and then the other pet peeve I have is, as you can tell, one of my favorite colors is red. I just wish the Pro Max or the Pro were red, and I think just the regular ones are red.
I have another.
Come on, let's go.
On that. So
yes.
Here's another picture. So the buttons are.
Oh, they are full gold.
Full gold,
guys,
and antenna band.
Listen,
gold.
The Wish.com version is going to be brass that scratches up. I'm just playing. But
another rumor on that red color is they had this for the 14, but now they're thinking it's going to be like for the 15, because you know how like, I think it was the 13 came with a green color.
Yeah.
14 came with a purple color.
And they came with purple, which the purple does look pretty cool.
It does look sick. I would get that. And they said that the 15 could come with an orange color.
Oh my goodness. If y'all are seeing this right now,
I think that looks crazy.
That is a killer looking phone.
And this wallpaper.
And the wallpaper.
That comes
money.
To that. Goes to another rumor they had of the Ultra, but they did this rumor for either the Ultra and the folding iPhone, because they say Apple's working on the folding because they wanted to get it better than Samsung's, because you know how they're always late to everything, but they do it way better.
Yes.
So they're talking about doing this.
Oh my goodness!
Because you know how
if y'all are seeing this is legit.
The Samsung folding,
it's the full back.
Yeah,
I love that. Like that's sweet. And so if your phone is face down, you're getting the quick glance of what's going on, notifications, all of that. And if it functions like the dynamic island, where if a text message pops up and you're able to read that, totally,
and you just
I'm all in for that.
Pull it halfway out.
Hey, while we're dreaming, here's what I would say. If a manufacturer is able to give me a phone like Tony Stark's, where it's see-through, sign me up, y'all.
To see, like, the Galaxy Flip,
Yeah.
it has a screen. But
Absolutely.
I think Apple did that. That would be way better. I think that's all for Apple so far. Next was, I think they rumored this back when they had the 6 come out, the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. So they had 2 versions. They rendered I forgot what they called it. Either a 6 Fold or something like that. Or maybe they just called it the Fold. Like, Samsung has Fold and then a Fold. I think that's what they called.
Yeah.
They're just the different years. Like how they do the MacBooks. Like, it's just a MacBook.
So my question is, what's everybody's take on the Folds and the Flips?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of friends that have used it. I've demoed them before, and while they feel good on initial use, I've had some friends that are like, hey, it's still good, and then I've had some friends that are like, right there at the crease, it either gets dust in it, or it gets dirt in it, or it starts to flex and tear, and while they still have a screen, the glass, whatever you would want to call it, is not holding up well in that area, and they either had to replace it or change phones entirely. Yeah. So what are y'all's opinion? I like the idea of the Flips and the Folds. It's a little bit nostalgic because it makes me think of the old days of phones where you're like popping over the razor or whatever. KG's got a few phones that I'm sure he's going to post on this video to show you what we're talking about. I like the idea. The folding technology has been out for a little bit, and I can only imagine them making it better as time goes on. Yeah. But I can tell you, for instance, the Windows Phone, the Surface Phone, did terribly. And it was one of the first ones that folded open. And the thing that I liked about it is once it folds open, it's like, dude, this is like a mini tablet. Like, what was it? At least a 10-inch screen when it was fully open, 8 to 10 inches. And so it's like, hey, this is really cool. But then it bombed, like it tanked totally. Now, that could be Windows OS because they haven't changed anything over the last few years where it was once like great.
Well, now Windows 11 kind of fits more of like phone style. So
that's true. That's true. But I mean, you remember I had Windows phones back when they were like the creme de la creme.
I think I had one.
And they never changed. Like they kept the same OS style and structure. And it's like you have to adapt. You have to continue moving.
What was that Windows that I had? I think you had it at one point. I can't remember if it was before the iPod or after.
The Nokia, like the 920s.
Gosh, I forgot what it was called. It was a Windows phone, and you could pop the back off and be like, "This is a flex," and you just slap it back on.
Yeah.
What was that one? That was so sick.
Some of them were Windows Mobile. And so was that the one that had the keyboard that you kind of slide out? Like it slides to the side and you have like this full keyboard?
I think I had both.
They were pretty legit and they had the stylus and so,
It makes me sound like I'm old, but I'm not. It's just because you had phones.
You just had all the cool tech,
So, like how you say, like the screens, like how dust, like if you're working like where I work, like how it's a bunch of dust and foam and all that, like you can easily get in it. There's basically like a hinge / crease, like outside and inside. Yeah. They said if like you get like this smallest amount of dust in this hinge when it's closed, you're done. Yeah. Like this, you can see it under the screen. The screen will mess up.
I've heard the same thing, and I'm already bad enough with dust. Yeah. If I got something in my phone, I'd be taking it apart.
Like like when you had the Pixel 6 Pro above the camera bar, insane amount of dust.
Yes.
Can you imagine if they did that design? Yeah. With the fold.
All right, so we're gonna pick on Pixel just a minute. What he's saying is, the moment I got the Pixel 6, which was a good phone, but it's still, here's what's sad, the operating system on iPhone is still better. And so though the hardware was better on my Google devices or my Samsung devices, the experience, the user experience and the easeability of AirDrop and Bluetooth and headphones and all the things, man, my opinion, it's easier to do on
less
iPhone.
Bugs, like way less bugs.
Exactly.
Even on beta.
It's tested better. And so though the Google phone had the better hardware, my iPhone ended up being the better device, and that's crazy. And so I got it. And I got a few cases, which was kind of frustrating when a new phone comes out. Like, they never prepare any manufacturers for good cases.
Well, now 14s actually did. They sent people the 14s with no batteries or whatever in them, just the body.
So you can actually get cases made. Genius move. Yeah. Do that more. But I got it, and right at the top of the camera bar, so we'll put a picture up. But you got the camera bar that's like this. It's horizontal across the back.
All glass.
Right at the top of it it would just always get this layer of dust, and it would just stay there. And you'd have to like scrub it away.
Fingernail,
you know, and it's like it's not filthy, it's not grease, it's just white dust that just accumulates.
And you had a black phone. Like if you got a white phone,
yes,
you couldn't even see
and so it was kind of like a blackish, grayish kind of matte.
It was black and then gray.
Yeah, and so it just rested there. And then when I put a case on it, it just made it worse. And it's like, oh, now it's going to stay here forever. You know, so some designs, I don't know why they do that. I don't know if it's just the color that you notice it more.
I guess.
But it was massively frustrating. But I will say, though I liked that phone, it was too glossy. And it also goes back to my desire that
matte.
The back of it needs to be matte. Like, just hands down.
If you want your phone to look more professional, make it no fingerprints.
Yes,
like
no fingerprints.
That's what I was going to do with my guitar. Just no fingerprints. Make it look clean all the time. It'll be like a flex because it's matte.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's our opinion. You may or may not agree. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
What's next? I think we have another phone. What's coming up for Pixel?
So, like I said, the designs, they were going to go with, here, I'll show you, like a folding design for like, what was this, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
So they're going to do that. And then they took, actually I don't think I saved it, but it was the same camera bar, all glass for, so they had like 3 renders. They had one for the 5, one for the 6, and one for the 7.
Yeah.
So this is the 5. I'll pop it up. The render looks clean.
Yeah, no, it looks very clean.
Can you imagine having that on a phone?
And here's what I will tell you. The fingerprint reader, hands down in the Google series, is the best fingerprint reader that I've ever used in a phone.
Yeah.
The ones below the glass on the Samsung are absolute trash. Like, even the one under the glass on the 6 was trash. I'm talking about the physical one on the back. It makes sense when you hold a phone in your hand. Do I want to put my finger on the front, or do I want to put it on the back where it already is? Yeah. Like, they had a genius design for that.
The only thing I hated, disliked, not hated, is I sometimes, when I do it, I move my finger down, and it'll pull down the menu. Like,
yes. So it had gestures that you can enable and slide the menus down, which is cool, unless you forget that it does it.
I should turn that off. But like,
the other thing
that
I was frustrated about is at one point in the Pixel 4, they had Face Unlock.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, in 5, 6, and 7, there's no Face Unlock.
Yeah.
Once again, just like I've said about this and the Mac,
well, I think 7
if you have the technology, do it. I hope the 7 does have it, because it doesn't make sense not to have it. And so, like, why would you go backwards? Like, that was the thing for me. It's like, no, man, if you're all in, you're all in. Do it. Like, you know, stay up with the times, right? It's like you have your biggest competitor in an iPhone, and it has Face Unlock. Why would you release a phone without Face Unlock? Yeah, and it's blazing fast.
And now they added it so, like, when you're recording a video,
2 appearances, you can do it with a mask, without a
mask. And now they can do it. You can do it with your phone sideways.
Nice.
So scan your phone sideways.
I'm a crazy man. So on my phones, I set up the second face as my wife. On her phone, I'm the second face, and so it's like, it doesn't have to be your face for both of them. Like, make it easier for your spouse to get into your phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see ideas and designs for Pixel 8. If you guys have any that we need to check out, that would be cool. What about Nothing 2? Tell us about this. This one's new. I know nothing about this, so this is a first for me.
Nothing 2 is probably the only Android phone I go to after getting an iPhone, because it's so close to iPhone, but yet like it's still an Android.
Do you have some renders that you're going to throw up on the screen for this one? Okay, so he's going to throw some stuff up on here.
So here, I'll pop up the first Nothing phone real quick compared to the iPhone. So Nothing phone.
And it runs Android?
Runs Android, but it's customized, and I'll show you in the renders, or not renders, the real phone. The back will light up to notifications.
Oh, wow.
And you can customize the back. So, like, it'll have, like...
I mean, guys, I don't know about you, but this looks a lot like an iPhone, so...
That's what I said.
Some of you are like, okay, I'm not mad.
That's the normal 12 and normal 11 right now.
And it has wireless charging?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Does that coil?
Does it kill iPhone? Does it have USB-C?
Yes.
Nice! Hey, we're already doing good.
It's a better iPhone.
Listen.
Just get ready for the renders.
Okay.
So, MKBHD had this. I'm pretty sure you could, like, set the lights so you can do, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 on one notification, or, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever on the other notification.
Very nice.
And they added a black. So they added a black and white.
Okay.
And the camera's, like,
So as you're seeing, it's got lights that
Yeah.
like LEDs that go around the outside of it, which is a nice addition. That's very cool.
Yeah, and then that's one of the.
I'm curious on battery life, how the lighting on the front and back affects battery.
I think I heard about the battery life. It's actually
not good.
Insanely good.
It's good.
It's like
okay.
Good for how it does with the lights.
All right. What's the Nothing 2 look like? Do they have any renditions of that?
Yeah.
So basically an iPhone. Nice.
Basically an iPhone.
Nice.
So that's one render.
Okay.
Just moving it like outward.
Yes. Like,
but instead of having it like this, it's like this.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So these are the two renders
this is perfect.
it had. It was basically the same phone, but you can see like the parts moved. Cause I'm guessing because of the bigger bump.
So call me weird, but I'm a massive fan of. I've seen skins that do this, and then things like this, where you see like the guts of the phone. That's kind of cool.
Well,
like,
what's crazy
it's different.
Is for the Nothing, it's the real guts.
That's cool.
Like I think they'll like paint it or whatever.
That's
like
cool.
It's the real guts. And they'll have like the nasty stuff, like the batteries under that.
See, but here's where I go back to. If I got a phone like this and I was able to put whatever operating system I could on it, let me put iOS on it. You know, it's like let me make yours better. Because now I've got good software and I've got the best hardware. Like that's a match made in heaven, personally. But no, this is cool. So is it running the latest Android 13?
I don't know. I think it is. Well, I think it's running its own version of.
Okay, so they've got a little wrapper, kind of like the Samsung UI, little wrapper on top of
and like
of
how
Android.
Google have their own, like little style.
Yeah.
I don't remember the specs, but MQHD did a what is it called? Camera test, like a blind camera test, and a lot of the camera pics. This one was like mostly the top. Like people like this camera and this phone.
Interesting.
And something crazy is they had the Pixel 7, 6, and maybe the 6 Pro. Wait, they had the 5A, 6 Pro probably, and the 7 Pro. Guess guess what the better Pixel was in the entire test?
7?
5A.
Really?
5A destroyed the 7.
Y'all, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
KJ will send the link to the website here.
Yeah.
So he is right.
Ooh.
The Nothing OS. They've got the 50 megapixel dual camera on the back, so that's pretty legit. 6.5 OLED display.
That's not
which HDR
120
10+.
hertz.
And then
For the base model.
120 hertz
That beats
refresh.
iPhone.
The thing that I'm curious on is, a lot of them are a variable refresh rate, and so the refresh will either go down or go up depending on what you're using, and so I think that's pretty cool.
It goes to 60 to 120.
Okay, so it goes down to 60, and then it goes up to 120, so that's cool.
You can get 8 gigs of RAM with 120 gigs of memory, or 256, or you can get 12 gigs of RAM, 256.
So very comparable specs-wise to the Pixel, at least the Pixel 6.
Ultra
so you
wide.
got an ultra-wide Samsung
that's a
sensor.
Samsung sensor.
Yeah.
And Sony. Sony sensors are crazy.
And then Sony sensors on the main and front.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Google filter.
And I feel like, with some phones, the camera is like, it's so crazy. We buy these expensive devices and we use mainly the camera. Like 90% of the time, as you can tell, we're filming this on cameras.
True.
And so like sometimes it's the software, sometimes it's the hardware. I can tell you for many years, Hezekiah and I have talked about this. I had a Pixel 3, and for a really long time, that camera was like top notch compared to like some of the newer phones. It was ridiculously good. And so it's funny that he's saying that as they did the tests, that the Pixel 5 is still like winning. That's wild. And so I think that's pretty sweet.
Okay, so one test I wanted to do. Oh, okay. So the normal 14 has a 32 milliamp hour. The
Nothing.
13 mini has a 24 milliamp hour. And where's that Nothing? Nothing has a 45 milliamp hour.
Goodness.
So,
Y'all got a big battery in there.
So
that's pretty legit.
The only test I want to do is the iPhone 14 Pro. Not the Max, because the Max is for those guys that have money.
We're doing all the hard work for you. 3200 milliamp hour for the iPhone Pro. 14 Pro.
14 Pro. Well, it's also different. This has an always-on display, so it drains a little more.
Yeah.
But instead of going down to 30 and then 220, I think it goes down to like 1.
Yeah. Yeah, the adaptive refresh
10,
on that is ridiculously cool.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed to see how that technology is kind of advanced.
The Max doesn't have,
and the Pro Max is not even on par with the
nothing.
With the Nothing. So it's a 6.7-inch screen.
That's true.
The Nothing 1 was a 6.5.
Okay, yeah.
We're not sure about the Nothing 2 unless you know.
Well,
but if the Nothing 1 had a 4,500 milliamp hour and it was only like 0.2 off, you know.
Can you imagine the 2? How big that battery would be?
Yeah.
And because if they're adding another camera, then they have to make the phone bigger.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Very, very wild. Y'all, I think we have another episode that will release as well. So if you liked this, let us know if you like this type of content, because we're really just trying to figure out what works, what people are into. Yeah. We kind of covered the whole gamut today in the realm of tech. Yeah. We'll be more precise on future episodes. But comment, and share, and let us know what you like.
Later in like this year, like I'd say June, August, September, like around those, there'll be a ton more rumors.
Absolutely.
Way more.
Especially as the tech groups start releasing and seeding, you know,
Tech Timber.
All the information. Yeah. Tech Timber. But yeah, let us know what you think about this and our other episodes. Let us know what you want to talk about. We are wide open, and so any of the rumors that you're hearing, we will weigh in on. Any questions you have, if you want advice on what you need to get, you know, a good starter or a good middle tier or even a good high tier tech setup, let us know. And then the other thing that we'll do is workflows. Yeah. So how do we do music? How do we do videos? How do we do, you know, still shots and all the above? We can show you how to do all that. If that's what you're into, please comment, let us know, and we will see you next time. Peace out.